Hey there, Icarus here. Welcome to yet another edition of What the Heck, my effort to find a more casual way of talking about neat and interesting, or depending on my mood, infuriating stuff that has passed by my eyeballs recently. This time round, we're going to be asking what the heck is Dystopika? Now, a few of you in my audience may already be acquainted with Dystopika. You may not know its name, but you've certainly seen it in action, because I, in fact, used Dystopika for many of the outro screens on this here very channel. It is, in effect, a cyberpunk city builder. A tremendously chill, laid-back, low-stakes experience that simply asks you to plunk down happy little buildings, or unhappy little buildings, depending on your headcanon of whatever particular city you're building, and just watch it grow as you progressively add and tweak and prune and just move stuff about to your own particular preference. I've heard Dystopika described as a city builder by way of Zen garden, or city builder by way of bonsai tree, and that is honestly pretty bang on the money in terms of overall vibe. You're not really shooting for any particular goal, although first-time playthroughs will see you progressively unlock more options as you continue on your way, but really the end goal of this is just to be able to sit back when you've had your fill and enjoy your creation. I'll be honest, it's a subtly addictive kind of chill. The kind of thing where you think, oh, I'll just maybe mess around for 15 minutes, and before you know it, you're potentially an hour or so deep, tweaking buildings with extra bit of signage and lighting, maybe a helipad, an extra lane for the sky cars. Oh, a tram system would be pretty fun to kind of thread between these buildings, wouldn't it? Yes, it would. Let's do that. And I gotta be honest, the main biggest thing that really sucked me in to Dystopika was the fact that you can place these big old screens of varying sizes and add your own custom files onto those screens. As you can imagine, that is pretty much where the light bulb went off in my head, and I thought it would be a good idea to create something that I could use for my very own channel. And here I am now doing a full-on video about Dystopika because I just can't stop messing about with it. And certainly the developer isn't helping, because they are continuously adding even more bits and bobs for me to just fiddle around with. There's been the likes of extra buildings, the ability to place roads and tram lines, and happily a lot of just quality of life stuff where certain elements can actually be resized after placement. At a certain point, the images that you may have seen in my end screen, those were of a fixed size. You couldn't really manipulate them, but thanks to updates here, you can now shrink or expand them to whatever need you desire. And that even extends to a whole host of the other decorative elements that you can sprinkle around or on the buildings that you've placed. Of late, one of my favorite things was placing these radio telescope dishes and just making them as uber huge as possible. It really tickled the part of my brain that enjoys the artwork of Simon Stalenhag. Just these monolithic, utilitarian-looking structures that absolutely dwarf everything else. Well, of course, except for the Tyrell Pyramid directly behind them. But I digress. Once you're done placing signage, creating roads, resizing whale holograms, you can then dive into the photo mode. And that is honestly where you can get really granular about the way you want your city to look, the vibe that you want it to strike. And this is fulfilled through a whole host of camera tweakables such as FOV, exposure, pitch, roll, height. You can even change the hue of the sun, the level of fog, heck, even the intensity of the rain. But easily one of the most fiddled about with features of camera mode for me personally would be the ability to set camera waypoints between A and B and have it play out over a certain length of time, essentially granting you the ability to create these lovely little cinematic vignettes. And I just can't tell you how much I enjoy this stuff. It's just like catnip to me. But yeah, I'm acutely aware that this is the kind of game or experience or whatever you want to call it that may not really resonate with my traditional audience here. I know what kind of stuff you're typically into, and I know that you're typically don't really care about this. But for those of you out there that do, that are open to this kind of experience and haven't heard of Dystopika before, I genuinely hope that this has been able to shine a spotlight on it for you and encourage you to give it a try for yourself, because if you're in the mood for this kind of relaxed, laid-back experience, if you want to introduce a little bit of cyberpunk zen into your life, if you're into city builders but you don't want to have to deal with the stress of hitting targets and making sure people don't drown in their own effluence, then honestly, Dystopika is for you. I honestly couldn't recommend it enough. In any case, this has been Mr. Icarus. Thank you very much for watching. Icarus out.